Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for session 4 of our Make the Most of Your College Experience series presented by Xavier University, Xavier Leadership Center, and General Electric Credit Union. My name is Kelly Blount, and I'm the Program Marketing Specialist here at GECU. We're so excited to serve the families and individuals of our communities through this 5-session series to help you learn a little more about the college process and what to expect directly from professional career and collegiate experts at Xavier University. Today's session, The Power of the Career Center and Internships, is led by Valarie Jacobsen, Director of Career Development at Xavier University. Valerie, thank you for being with us today and for sharing your insight and wisdom. With that, I'd like to pass this over to Valarie Jacobsen.
All right, thank you, Kelly. Well, good evening, everyone. Again, my name is Valarie Jacobsen, and I'm looking forward to sharing with you about the ways in which your campus career center can support students throughout their college career. I understand that tonight we have a mix of students, prospective students, and parents in attendance. And while tonight's presentation is really tailored toward the students, I'll be sure to note some ways in which parents can support their students as well as they explore majors and careers. And as Kelly mentioned, I am glad to answer any questions that come up, and I welcome you to submit those as they come to mind. All right. So wanted to just introduce myself a bit. As Kelly mentioned, I serve as the Director of Career Development at Xavier University. Interestingly enough, my first official day as director was actually the day we went remote back in March of 2020. So it's certainly been an interesting first couple of years in the role. I actually came to Xavier University in 2008, and I've been in career development in a variety of roles since then. I began as an assistant director focused on career coaching and programming, specifically for students in the College of Arts and Sciences. Over the years, I had the opportunity to take on a variety of other roles, including career fair planning, employer relations, experiential learning, and more. While I've been at Xavier for nearly 14 years now, I've worked in career services at other universities and a nonprofit as well. And while tonight, as I share with you about career development and experiential learning, I'll certainly mention all that's available at Xavier University, but I want to let you know I also bring perspectives from other campuses too, and that the information I share with you actually is what you can come to expect from a career services office at most campuses. I began my time in career development at my alma mater, Indiana State University in Terre Haute, Indiana. ISU is a medium-sized public school. It's known for Larry Bird from the star basketball player, which was before my time, but some of you may remember him. I also spent some time working at the Indiana Chamber of Commerce, helping employers to build internship programs and encouraging students to pursue experiential learning within the state of Indiana. My most recent role prior to coming to Xavier was at Indiana University, Purdue University, Indianapolis, IUPUI, in Indianapolis, Indiana, focused on encouraging exploratory students, those who had not selected a major yet, to take advantage of experiential learning opportunities as they explore potential majors and careers. IUPUI is actually a large, mostly commuter urban campus in Indianapolis. And finally, I thought it would be interesting to share with you that I am truly a classic example of someone who did not use their college career center. I was the student who, when I began my college career in undergrad, I knew what I wanted to do. I was going to be a high school chemistry teacher. Once I got into my courses, however, once I got into organic chemistry, I realized this is maybe not the right fit for me. And it was a little bit too late in the game, it felt, for me to make a significant switch. So I switched to middle school science. As I started student teaching in my senior year, I realized I was just not cut out for teaching. And that's a tricky place to be when you get really close to graduation. You realize the thing that you've pursued all this time is not the right fit for you. And so I knew I loved the college setting, but I knew I didn't want to teach. So I began talking to some mentors and individuals who were working in roles that looked interesting to me. And ultimately I decided, excuse me, to pursue a career in higher education and student affairs. But truly that process would have been much smoother and happened a lot sooner had I used my College Career Center. So just wanted to share a little bit about that background, and that's certainly a perspective that I bring with me whenever working with students as well. And then because we're on Zoom, I thought I'd take the opportunity to share a little bit about myself personally. I think it's helpful to get to know your presenter a little bit. So now that you know a little bit about me professionally, I thought I'd share with you a little bit about my life outside of Xavier. I am not originally from Cincinnati. I am from Brazil, Indiana. It's right on the Indiana-Illinois border. Now I live still in Indiana, in West Harrison, also known as Bright, right on the Indiana-Ohio border. I do commute to campus most days of the week. It's about a 45-minute drive. It's really not that bad. But it always surprises people when they hear that I work at Xavier in Cincinnati, but actually live in Indiana. I am actually a parent myself. I'm a mom of two. Grace is 10 years old in 4th grade. Eli is 7 and in 2nd grade. And while they are a ways off from going to college, I have that parent perspective certainly whenever I work with whenever I'm doing the work that I do in career development. And so that's why I will certainly be mindful of ways to help the parents in the audience to think about ways they can support their student. And then last little fun fact, we are animal lovers in our home. We have 4 pets. We have 2 dogs, Mason and Millie, and we have 2 guinea pigs that are kind of pandemic pets, Milo and Max. And for some reason, we started out with M names and we just stuck with it. So a little bit about me. So introductions aside, I'd like to get into a little bit about campus career services. I thought I'd start by just providing kind of an overview of what you can expect from your campus's career services office, and then I'll go into a little bit more detail on some key components. Our goal in career development is to help students to be successful while they're students and to prepare them to be successful for after they graduate. We offer coaching, support, resources, and connections to help with this. At Xavier, we have a team of skilled career coaches who meet with students one-on-one in small groups and who coordinate programming, workshops, panels, and other events to help them as they're exploring majors and careers and pursuing internships, full-time jobs, part-time positions, and even as they consider graduate school. At Xavier, we utilize the Handshake platform, which is used for students to schedule their appointments with us, to register for career fairs, to RSVP for panels and workshops and other events, and to look for and apply for jobs and internships as well. It's kind of our one-stop shop. While we are a Handshake campus, and it's a very popular platform, it's one that many campuses use. There are some other platforms that are out there like Simplicity, 1220, and others. In career development, we provide a variety of opportunities for students to connect with employers both in person and virtually, including on-campus recruiting, career fairs, networking events, and more. And finally, at Xavier, we are especially proud of our mentoring programs. This is becoming more and more popular on college campuses, but Xavier was an early leader when it came to professional mentoring. Through our mentoring programs, students can be paired with a mentor within a field of interest to them, either through our Flash mentoring program, which is a short-term, kind of a one-time connection where a student can do an informational interview or have a conversation with a mentor, or our long-term professional mentor program. Both mentoring programs allow students to learn about that mentor's career path, tap into their professional network, and receive some coaching from a professional who is truly invested in grooming the future of their chosen field. It's really an excellent opportunity for students to take advantage of. Certainly a lot of students kind of have some organic mentoring relationships that develop, but being able to take that step to intentionally connect with someone who's within a field of interest for you can be another great way to gain some different perspectives, gain some coaching from a professional within your field, and to broaden your professional network. I thought I'd dig a little bit deeper into career coaching. Students can benefit from connecting with a career coach on a number of career development topics. At Xavier, we serve current students and alumni as well, no matter when they graduated. So if you are 6 months out, if you're 2 years out, if you're 15 years out, we serve alumni as well. I kind of just listed several common career coaching topics that I thought I'd dig into just a little bit as well. The first is major and career exploration. I shared with you my story about how I came into college knowing what I wanted to do and then starting to question later. And really, students come to college in I would say kind of 3 different places. They may come to college knowing what they want to do, energized, excited, and really confident in their career path. There are other students who are kind of on the other end of things and they have no idea. Either everything's exciting or they just really don't know what the right fit is for them and they're really exploring. And you have those who are kind of in the middle who they have selected a major, but they don't know what they want to do with that. You know, they don't know what a good major minor combination is. They don't know what the career options are. Or they've selected a major and start to question, kind of like what I did, hopefully earlier in the process. Wherever that student is, our career coaching team is there to help with that. Students will commonly come in and they'll share kind of where they are, and through that conversation with them, we can help them to kind of navigate those next steps. We certainly don't have a crystal ball. We're not going to tell them what they should do. However, we have a lot of instruments and resources that we can use to help students as they are just exploring what's out there. For that student who comes in and they have no idea, a lot of times we'll have a conversation with them, and sometimes a career assessment can be a really good place to start, just to help that student to identify, what their skills and their strengths are and what their interests are, and kind of just to even reflect on their personality and what they enjoy, and to kind of look at those themes that might be worth exploring to be a good career match. For that student who comes in and they've selected a major and they just want to know what the options are, maybe an education major comes in and all they've thought about is teaching, but they want to know what other career options are out there, we can help them through that research phase. And for that student who comes in and they start questioning, we kind of see where they are. If they're at a place where they're like, I've selected this major, but I'm curious about this major and this major, we can help them do that research. Or if they're feeling a little lost, we might take a few steps back and go through that full exploration process, perhaps a career assessment. So wherever you are at that time, your career coach can help you navigate the path ahead. And that's why it's so helpful to visit your career services office earlier rather than later. You don't want to be like me, waiting until the very end and then feeling like, where do I go from here? If you start a little sooner, you can just, have a clearer path ahead of you and make a well-informed decision on the steps ahead. So next I have listed internship and job search strategy. For many students, just knowing where to start, it can feel like just such a huge task, and knowing where to start is really, really helpful. And in fact, we certainly, I'm going to touch on internships and experiential learning here in a little bit, but we certainly encourage internships for students. Those commonly take place around the sophomore year, but they really happen throughout a student's college career and even at a high school now. But the great thing about, one of the many good things about doing an internship is that it's a really fantastic preparation for your job search, because the strategy mirrors the job search strategy. So, working with students and knowing where to start, what resources are available to them, for us, the Handshake platform or whatever job search platform the campus has, how to stay organized, knowing how to follow up, those kinds of things can be really helpful. Certainly a piece of that internship or job search relates to resumes and cover letters. For many students, maybe they've done a high school resume, but they need to kind of think through what a college resume looks like. Maybe they've never done a cover letter, or maybe they did some applications for scholarships and things, but it's just got a very different feel when it comes to applying for an internship or job. So we help students as they are starting from scratch with building a resume, learning how to craft a cover letter, and we really encourage students to tailor that resume and cover letter to the opportunity they're pursuing. Looking at that position description, looking at that award that they're pursuing, looking at what they're looking for in a candidate and really tailoring that resume and cover letter to the position is a way in which they can stand out and a way to really get that employer or that reviewer's attention. LinkedIn review is noted. It's important as you are navigating your job search to consider the many ways in which you can build your network. And certainly, in addition to building your professional network through in-person connections, there's certainly that opportunity to build your professional network in a space such as LinkedIn. And so encouraging students to, number one, build a LinkedIn profile. We actually have several events throughout the year where a student can get their headshot taken for free so that they can have a professional photo for their LinkedIn profile. Guiding them on, what are good things to include in their LinkedIn profile, and then how to navigate the platform, how to make connections that can help them as they begin their internship and job search, how to tap into Xavier's alumni network, how to connect with employers that maybe they have engaged with in a career fair or another networking event through LinkedIn. We commonly encourage students to really consider the ways in which they can leverage the LinkedIn platform relating to their internship and job search. We commonly work with students who are preparing for interviews and include mock interviews with that. For some students who are really planning ahead, they may just want to have a conversation about, ways in which they can prepare for an interview. And that's a fantastic conversation to have. It's great for them to plan ahead so that they don't feel as rushed when the time comes that they have an interview scheduled. For other students, they have an interview scheduled and they want to have a conversation with a career coach about how they can best research the organization, how they can anticipate questions that might be asked and prepare the kinds of strong responses that will present them very well in the interview. And then oftentimes we'll have students who will actually do a mock interview with us, and we'll have students schedule this and bring in the position description for the opportunity they'll be interviewing for, and their career coach will look through that position description. They will ask questions from that position description that we can kind of anticipate an employer might ask. We commonly hear from employers that it's very important that a student can answer those basic questions, like tell me a little bit about yourself and what would you consider to be a strength and a weakness. But just as important, they need to be able to share behavioral-based, or they need to be able to answer behavioral-based interview questions, kind of that storytelling that tells that employer about what they've done in the past, how they handled that situation, because it gives that employer a good indication of how they would handle future similar situations if they were selected for the opportunity. So we very frequently work with students who are preparing for interviews. Once you get a little further in the process, certainly a fresh out of college grad or a senior who is navigating their first full-time job search, when it comes to salary negotiation, that can be a little intimidating for a student. So when a student is kind of to that point where perhaps they are trying to decide between two great job offers, or if they were offered an opportunity but they want to try to negotiate that salary a little bit, we'll help them through that. We'll role play if we need to. We'll help them to do the research they need to do in order to present their their request and in a way that they can feel as comfortable as possible. For some of our students, they know that their next step is going to be graduate or professional school. And for those students, we work with them as they are exploring different schools and different programs for their ultimate career goals. We work with students who are going through the application process. A piece of that is often, preparing a resume or a CV, oftentimes a personal statement as well. So for those students who know that graduate school is the next step for them, we work with them there. And then one thing that's specific to Xavier, but I'm sure many other campuses have something similar, is reciprocity. So Xavier University is a part of the Big East Career Consortium. We're part of the Big East Athletic Conference. And so all of the directors of the career centers within the Big East get together monthly, and we offer a lot of opportunities for students tapping into one another's networks, whether it be networking events or panels or professional development opportunities. But one piece of that is reciprocity with the career development offices within the conference. And the same is true for the Jesuit Career Consortium. Xavier being a Jesuit university, we're a member of that consortium as well. And what that means is that if your student, for example, they would really like to intern for the summer in Boston, we can get them connected with someone from Boston College, and we can get them set up for reciprocity where they can meet with someone in that office, attend their career fairs, utilize their job board. The services kind of vary from campus to campus, but it's a great way to tap into the networks in different locations throughout the country. So definitely something to look into as you are leveraging the offerings of your campus career center. Another key thing that we offer in career development are opportunities for employer engagement. We love engaging employers with students for so many reasons. We're grateful to have a number of opportunities for students to connect with employers throughout the academic year. While the networking is certainly fantastic, the opportunity for students to hear directly from employers what they seek in candidates is just so valuable. It's really helpful as they are pursuing internships and jobs. And I have to say that, we oftentimes will tell students about the information we hear from employers. If we can say that a representative from GE said, this is what I look for in a candidate, or if we can bring an employer in from, bring a representative in from Nielsen IQ, for example, who can actually share their advice from all of the resumes and all of the candidates that they interact with. It has power behind it, and so we love to provide those opportunities every chance we get. This can it can take a lot of different formats. Information sessions are an opportunity for employers to share information about their organization, the opportunities they have available for internships, part-time and full-time jobs, and these can occur virtually or in person. It's a great opportunity for a student to connect with organization representatives, to ask questions, to learn about the opportunities they might not have thought the organization might have available. For example, if a hospital is doing an information session, the students might be thinking about them hiring nurses, but that hospital is also going to need someone to do communications and marketing and human resources, and it's a great opportunity for that student to kind of think more broadly about that organization. Sometimes these information sessions are just general information about the organization and their opportunities, but other times these are kind of called pre-interview nights, pre-nights, we call them a lot, where the employers will take the opportunity to engage with all of the candidates they plan to interview the next day, just as a way to help those candidates get a good feel for the organization, the opportunities, and like that base information so that they can have an even more productive interview. The layered engagement that a candidate can get with employers is always a good thing, so we always encourage students to take advantage of that. I mentioned interviews, and I'm proud to share that at Xavier we have a lovely interview suite in the career development office, and many of our employers will reserve space within that interview suite to do first round interviews for internships and jobs. And this is incredibly convenient for our students. They can apply for opportunities within our Handshake platform. If they're selected for an interview, then they can find a time that employer is going to be on campus that works with their class schedule so that they can wear that suit and tie to class and then come over to career development and do their interview and then make their way to lunch or whatever is next on their calendar. So it's certainly a convenient opportunity for students, and we love to have our employers on campus as well. We also offer our interview rooms. We have 5 interview rooms in our interview suite. We offer our interview rooms for students who have virtual interviews that are scheduled when they need a private place to do an interview. It's certainly a help to have somewhere private to do that interview and to not have a roommate, listening in, or a dog barking in the background or something like that. Career fairs are another common way in which we get employers engaged with students. At Xavier, we offer a variety of career fairs that provide students the opportunity to connect with employers about internships and full-time opportunities. We offer 2 large all-major career fairs, our fall career fair in September and our spring career fair in February. We offer an education career fair, which takes place in the spring, usually March or April. That actually is a consortium fair with 5 other campuses in the area, and kind of has a different format. It's got the networking piece, but also interviews that occur. We have about 1,000 interviews that'll take place over the course of an afternoon. We have 2 part-time job fairs, one in the fall and one in the spring. As a member of the Big East Career Consortium, we offer the Big East Virtual Career Fair in the summer, specifically for those who just graduated. And then we have our Postgraduate Volunteer Fair, and this is an opportunity for students who are interested in postgraduate service, things like Peace Corps, Jesuit Volunteer Corps, Teach for America, for them to engage with those kinds of organizations. This year, we have been offering a mix of both virtual and in-person fairs to ensure that students and alumni can connect with employers in whatever mode works best for them and for the employer. Next, we have networking events. These can take a lot of different forms and can really vary, but some cornerstone events that I wanted to share. At Xavier, we offer our diversity reception. This is an opportunity for students to connect with employers who embrace and support diversity, equity, inclusion, and allyship in the workplace. We also, as a member of the Big East Career Consortium, participate in the Big East Sports and Entertainment Networking event that actually occurs during tournament time in New York City. And it's something that's presented by all 11 Big East campuses. Many of our employers are really energized by getting engaged with our students, and they take advantage of opportunities to conduct resume reviews and to do mock interviews. And anytime those opportunities are available, I really encourage students to take advantage of that. To hear from someone who is reviewing candidate resumes frequently and who can share specifically with that student what's going to stand out or how they can make their resume stand out as an applicant, that's just such valuable information. The same is true for a mock interview. For a student to be able to do a mock interview with an employer who actually is interviewing candidates regularly, they can get some really great candid feedback that can just really help them to be better and better and present themselves in a really strong way in an interview. And then lastly, workshops and panels. Bringing employers to sit in on a panel or co-present a workshop, once again, provides you that insight from the employer perspective. It's really helpful for students to hear from employers for that firsthand advice. And I made a note that virtual events certainly allow students to connect with employers from all over the country. During last academic year, when really all of our events had to happen virtually, and that was really the preferred method for employers too, we actually found a really great kind of silver lining was that we had a number of employers who are not from kind of the Midwest who began to engage with us because they didn't have to travel in order to recruit from the Xavier student community. And we were able to engage with new and different employers. So I really feel as though a mix of virtual and in-person is going to be around long-term because there are so many benefits there. We're certainly glad to have more in-person events happening this year. So I mentioned a little bit about experiential learning before. And I know that the title of this session related to the power of career centers and internships. Experiential learning is a little bit of a broader term, and it really relates to hands-on experience within a potential career interest area. We commonly think of internships when we think of experiential learning, but this can also include co-ops, service learning, micro internships, kind of mini internships, even part-time jobs, volunteer experience, research, practicum, clinicals, and so much more. Really, any experience that allows students to grow and develop their skills related to a potential career interest area can be considered experiential learning. Employers love to see experiential learning on a resume. And if they can see more than one internship or more than one form of experiential learning on a resume, that's even better. As I mentioned before, some students are even doing internships in high school, and they're just building upon that experience in college. But we certainly encourage taking advantage of the opportunities you have to get that hands-on experience, any opportunity that you can get. Experiential learning on a resume really shows an employer that the student took the initiative to gain that experience. And taking on more than one can allow some depth in that experience or some breadth in what they did. I also have to say too that experiential learning is a fantastic way for a student to just test drive a potential career option. These are short-term experiences. They might be over the course of a semester or for a summer. So they have a start and an end date. It's going to be within within an employment setting. They can make some great connections, and hopefully they have a wonderful experience. They really enjoy it, and they learn a lot, and they really grow and develop and have great things to add to their resume. But to be honest with you, if they go through that experience and they don't like it, that's just as valuable. It helps them to clarify their career goals. And it's still a great experience for the resume, even if they didn't love it, even if it wasn't, a perfect match for them, it's still a valuable experience. All right, so I kind of wanted to move from kind of the information about career development to kind of some hopefully some good tips as to where you can take this information from here. So thinking about where do I start? I think it's important for the students in the audience to take a little bit of time to reflect. What is it that you have done? And it doesn't have to be paid. It could be a student organization, it could be athletics, it could be volunteering, it could be things you just do in your free time. What brings you joy? What do you really enjoy? What are the things that you're good at? What are the things that when you do them, maybe someone else says like, wow, like that, you just knocked that out right away, and that's so hard for me. What are the things you're good at? That can be something like math. It could be something like drawing. It could be something like organization. Think about those things you're really good at, those things that come naturally to you. And then think about what the world needs. Think about, as you think about, the opportunities available and the ways in which you could utilize what you enjoy and what you're good at for the greater good, to help others, to do new things, to create. Think about how those things can work together. And after you've taken some time to do a little bit of reflection, I think it's really helpful to ask the people who know you best what they believe to be your strengths when they've seen you thriving, or you've just really been in the zone. How they can imagine you combining those things that you enjoy and that you're good at and that you see as there being a need in the world, to combine and to potentially be a way that you could transition that into your professional life. It's important to realize too that their insight is helpful in hearing what they've observed about you. It's intended to spark new ideas or to confirm what you've been considering. But once again, nobody has a crystal ball. Nobody can tell you what you should do. You want to take that information and continue that reflection, and to then kind of experiment a little bit from there. And for the parents in the audience, I think my best advice for you, if your student is kind of in this place and they're like, I have no idea what I'd want to major in, or I don't know what I want to do for a career, you know, the best thing you can do is listen and offer some encouragement and let them know it's okay to not have it all figured out. It's, you know, it can feel like a lot of pressure at 18 years old to make a decision of what you're going to do for the rest of your life. I say that with air quotes because many of us make career changes multiple times throughout our lives, and that's a very normal thing. So I just encourage you, if you're a parent of a student who's struggling or just exploring or starting this process, help them to identify their strengths and what they're great at and where you've seen them thriving, and certainly take the time to listen and help them process and offer that encouragement. I think some other advice that I have to share too is to take advantage of your campus's online resources. I shared with you I've worked on a number of campuses, and whether public, private, large, small, we all have public-facing career development websites. And so whether you've made a college decision or not, I encourage you, if you're kind of in this process, to visit some of those college websites, and try to get a little bit of information. Excuse me. The career development website may have some online career assessments you can take for free without ever even visiting with someone. And that can be a great way for you to get some information and really kind of begin the process. And even those career assessments, they're not going to tell you what you should do. They're really just going to kind of help you to identify some themes and potential majors and careers that might be a good match, and as a kind of starting point to begin the exploration process and research process. There are a number of what can I do with this major types of resources, whether you visit a campus career office or you even just Google it. What can I do with a marketing major? What can I do with an English major? That can help you to kind of open your mind as to the opportunities that might be worth considering. If you're starting to narrow in on some different potential majors, I certainly encourage you to spend some time to visit a campus that you're a campus website that you're considering, to take a look at the kind of the course sequence for that particular major. You know, if you notice that it's math heavy and you know you're great at math, then great. If you notice it's science heavy and you struggle with science, it's just something that doesn't mean you shouldn't do it. It just means it's something you want to be aware of, so that you can just plan for that and prep for that. And then lastly, I encourage you to connect with career services. Some campuses serve admitted students before their first day of classes. While I know it doesn't happen a ton at Xavier, it does happen, and we can certainly have those conversations with you. Additionally, you may have a counselor in your school that you can have those conversations with as well if you're in high school. And then certainly when you're ready, certainly by the time you are in that first year of college, when you're ready, reach out and schedule an appointment. It's really important that you not delay those conversations if you're starting to question. It's a great idea to go ahead and start those conversations early so that you can just kind of plan your path ahead. So what can I do now? If you're in high school now, or if you're a parent of a high school student, you might be wondering what you can do right now to put yourself on a good path for your career exploration. It may be that today's presentation is really the starting point for you as to thinking about what you might want to do for your career, what you might want to major in college. Or maybe you've been thinking about this for a little while. Wherever you are, you can certainly take advantage of some opportunities now that can help put you on a strong path moving forward. Taking an elective course in high school and certainly in college that connects to the field that you're considering can be very helpful. If the course is interesting to you, if it feels easy, versus if it feels really boring or is really challenging. It can help you to determine whether your interest continues there, or if it's something that you just need to kind of notice, like, okay, I can do calculus, but I might need a tutor, I might need to work extra hard on that, or if this is just one course versus like a theme throughout the program, it's just important to be aware of. So taking that elective that kind of allows you to kind of dip your toe in and see what you think of some common courses that might be included in that major career path can be really helpful. Clubs and organizations can be another great way to kind of test out some different areas of interest to you, whether it be in high school or in college, if it might be volunteering or doing something in your community. If it relates to something that matters to you, if it allows you to put into practice something that you could see yourself doing whenever, in your career, it can be a great way for you to gain some experience and also try it out and see if it's feeling like a good fit for you. Job shadowing is another fantastic way to really feel out some career opportunities. This is it could be as easy as, at Thanksgiving and you're meeting with your family and, somebody has a job that you think sounds really interesting, to say, hey, could I come and shadow you for a couple of hours over break? It would just allow you to kind of like see what a day in the life of that career might look and feel like. And if that interest continues or it really sparks further interest for you, it can prompt you to do more research and to see if that might be something that you would want to consider for your own career path. Talking to people in the field or the role of interest for you is another fantastic way for you to kind of do a little bit more research into to pair with any kind of reading or online research you might be doing about potential majors and careers. Once again, if it's a family gathering or you're getting it together with friends from high school and you hear about someone who's doing something that sounds interesting to you or something that you have considered, folks tend to be pretty interested in talking about themselves and about what their path has been and kind of sharing that with others who are also interested. So don't ever feel like it's a burden, to say, hey, I'd love to learn some more. Can we grab coffee or can we schedule a phone call? I'd just love to ask you some questions. It can allow you to learn more about their role, learn about what they majored in or what their career path was, to learn what they enjoy about it and what the challenges are. To even make some great connections that can pay off for you later. Summer and part-time jobs can be another fantastic way to make a little bit of money, but to also gain some experience and test out some different potential employers or roles that might be of interest to you. And then I mentioned before, high school internships can be something worth pursuing too. If you have that opportunity to gain some experience while in high school and to build upon that or broaden that throughout your high school career and then into college, it's gonna really set you up very well on your resume and as you're discerning your future career path. Those are great things to take advantage of. So that was a lot of information. I hope it's been helpful to you to hear a little bit about, ways in which you can utilize your career services office and some common ways in which you can engage with career coaching staff and some things you can even think about now to set yourself up for success moving forward. And with that, I'll see if Kelly has any questions that have been submitted. I'd be glad to answer any questions that anyone might have.
All right, wonderful. Thanks, Valerie, for being here tonight and taking us through the topic. As Valerie mentioned, let's go ahead and get into Q&A. So this is your time to ask Valerie your questions about your career center or work experiences or internships, anything that comes to mind along those topics. I do have a couple questions. Again, go ahead and type those into your questions feature and I can get to those as they come in. But let's start with the first one. As a student, when should I make my first visit to my campus career center?
Great question. So while I would love for every first year student to visit us in that first semester, I fully recognize that being a first year college student is a big adjustment for sure. You know, you're on a new campus, you're navigating a course schedule, you're making new friends, you're potentially living on your own for the first time. So I fully recognize that not every student is ready for those kind of conversations in that first semester. So my best advice is, as soon as you feel ready, as soon as you start kind of questioning what you might like to do after you graduate, if you find yourself kind of questioning if the major you've selected is the right fit for you or what those options are. If you start to question, and by all means, if you start to feel any anxiety about that, please do come and see someone in career development. It's very common for first year students when they first go home, maybe it's Thanksgiving break or fall break, when they first go home and they see their friends from high school, or they see their family, and everyone's saying, like, what are you majoring in? What are you going to do with that? That is a very common time where students start to think, oh, I need to start thinking about that. And sometimes it feels a little stressful whenever seemingly everyone else has their path laid out for them. That's not ever the case. Everyone, finds themselves questioning at one time or another. So all that to say, my best advice is, when you are ready and when you start kind of questioning and wanting to take those steps, we're ready for you. And the sooner the better.
The next question we have is, where can high school students kind of start to look for internships now if they're interested in kind of seeing what's out there?
Great question. I think that for so many years, internships have been thought of as something that really only happen around your sophomore year of college. But that hands-on experience is just it's so valuable to employers that students are taking advantage of those opportunities earlier and earlier. As far as where to find those opportunities, I think there are a number of potential ways in which you could explore those. Certainly, you have resources within your high school that I really encourage you to take advantage of. Certainly connect with your high school career counselor, your school counselor, guidance counselor in your high school, and explore what options they're aware of. I feel like they're a great first place to start. But I'd say that beyond that, think about the kinds of organizations that are interesting to you. If you know that you want to work with children, and there are a lot of summer camps out there, that could be a great way for you to gain that hands-on experience through working as a camp counselor through the summer. I think too, a lot of times in high school, they may not be called internships. Sometimes they are, sometimes they're not. If it gives you that experience that puts you in a place to interact with the groups you want to kind of gain that experience with, or doing something like what you're considering doing, any of that is hands-on experience, and it's a great thing to take advantage of.
For this next question, I know you mentioned Xavier's Career Center helps alumni as well. Is that sort of a common thing among other universities?
I would say it's fairly common. Some campuses kind of have a time limit, where they'll say, well, we'll work with alumni 5 years out, others will say, we'll meet with you for two coaching sessions. Others have it very open, like what we do. And some campuses actually will charge alumni. We don't at Xavier. So the best thing you can do is to visit your campuses, if you're an alum, visit your campus's career development website, and to see what they have available for alumni. You can always make a phone call or send an email to see what's available. But at Xavier, all of the services, all of the events, programming, resources, all that is available to our students is also open to our alumni as well.
Thank you. Let's see, the next question is, what are some tools or tactics the Career Center uses in helping students decide for their future careers?
So I would say that it all depends on where the student is when they come in. If they are in a place where Either everything sounds exciting and interesting or nothing sounds exciting or interesting. Many times we kind of start from kind of a square one, and we might do a career assessment just to really help that student to kind of think about their personality, think about their skills, their interests, their strengths, and to kind of help them to identify some themes there that are worth kind of taking that next step with researching career options and majors that might be a good fit. For students who come in and they say, I'm interested in marketing, I'm interested in communications, we can help them to look at both of those those major options and the career options that will be available for each path. For a student who, they've selected that major, they're going to be an English major, and they just want to know what kind of career options are available and how they can set them up for success for securing internships or a full-time job later. We'll help them as they are kind of researching those options and just knowing what are common majors common career paths for that major, and also kind of some unique ways in which they can blend their unique interests and their experience or a minor with that major to do something maybe that's a little bit different, but to really sell that to the employer.
Looks like we have a couple more questions. Again, I just wanted to call out if anybody has any questions they'd like to be asked tonight, please go ahead and put that in your questions feature, and I'll make sure we get that answered in the time we have tonight. But with that, let's move on to the next one. What's a common misconception students have about career centers?
I would say the most common misconception that I hear is that career centers are only for business students. And that is not at all the case. I think that because, this is kind of an example I gave earlier, but because many times the employers that engage with a campus, they're thought of as being corporate types of organizations that only hire business majors, that it kind of gives that feeling like if I'm an English major or an art major, there's nothing here for me. What's really important is that that students understand that, I work at Xavier University. This is, a campus, and certainly they employ faculty, but they employ people like me. They employ counselors. They employ people who do marketing, who do human resources, and that's just one example. The same is true for, for large corporations, for small nonprofits, healthcare, education. It's important to really look deeper than the name of the organization when you kind of consider what types of career options might be available within that organization. Cincinnati Children's Hospital, for example, yes, they're going to hire doctors and they're going to hire people to do research and they're going to hire nurses, but they also need people to do their marketing. They need people to hire and train, and business operations and finance and accounting too. So it's important to kind of look a little bit deeper and to not just assume that it's all for business.
Let's end on this last question. What would you say to students who may be hesitant in reaching out and utilizing their campus career center?
I would say that, number one, I get it. I feel like when you're kind of in that place where you are trying to determine what you're going to do 4 years from now, and what you want to do for the rest of your life. And I say that once again with air quotes, knowing so many people change careers. It can feel overwhelming. It can feel intimidating. It can feel a little bit scary. And so I just say that I get it. And I get that taking that first step and kind of digging into that can feel like a lot. So I certainly get how it can feel like, this really big mountain to climb. But I just really encourage you to remember that we're here to make that easier for you. Don't be like Valarie Jacobsen, who, waited until she was student teaching the last semester of college and realized this is not what I want to do. Now, where do I go from here? as you start to question, as you start to kind of start thinking about those, your life after college, engage with someone in career development and just process that with them. They're going to provide you that support, encouragement, help you research and make great connections, and take advantage of all of the opportunities that are available to you for free, by the way, on your college campus that people pay a lot of money for outside of higher education. So just taking advantage of those resources that are available to you, and putting yourself out there a little bit. I certainly realize that making connections with employers can also feel a little bit intimidating, but getting that information, making those connections, getting to know people, it's all very worthwhile, and it certainly accumulates and adds those layers to really set you up for success in your future career.
Thank you. All right, so that's going to conclude our Q&A session for tonight. Valerie, I'd like to hand the floor back over to you for any final words.
All right, well, thank you so much, Kelly. Thanks for all the great questions, and just appreciated this opportunity to chat with you all tonight. I hope that the information shared was helpful, or maybe just sparked some different things to kind of get you thinking about next steps for yourself, and just wish you all the very best, and encourage you to connect with career development whenever you feel ready, whether it be prior to your college career, or certainly once you get settled in a college campus. It's great to be with you all tonight.
Wonderful. Thank you, Valerie. And one last time, the Xavier Leadership Center, Xavier University, and General Electric Credit Union, thank you for taking the time to join us this evening and learn with us. We hope you've learned valuable information about how to go about utilizing your campus career center, and we will see you all in 2 weeks on February 9th for our final session, How to Maximize Your First Year on Campus, led by Molly Labeda, Assistant Director of Student Success and Academic Advising, and Dustin Lewis, Associate Director of Student Involvement. Thank you once again, and have a great rest of your evening.